Really? Hey, Downstater here. So I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you fall into one of two camps. You're either, like me, a bit of a psychopath and you ride all winter long without a worry in the world, and maybe you're just looking for some better gear to do that with. That's great. The second camp, which is what most riders fall into, would be the ones that, they mothball the bike around October, November, and then wait anxiously all winter long and to finally bring it out of hibernation in, late April, early May. Not judging at all. I was actually in that camp, especially when my kids were young. What I'd like to show you are the tips, tricks, and products that I use to not just endure winter riding, but actually really enjoy it. It's become one of my favorite times to ride because I got the right gear for the job. There's a lot of benefits to winter riding. There's typically less people on the road, crisper air, the bike breathes better, makes more power. You can have all your gear on without sweating your ass off. I could go on and on. There's a lot of benefits to just not mothballing your bike. Again, you got to have the right gear though. If you stick around towards the end, I have another product that I'm going to do a review on that really is a game changer. And I'd like to share my opinions, thoughts, and usage so far on it. So let's hop on the bike. I'm going to bring you guys through Philly, show you a couple sites, and then stop at a cool little spot to delve into this a little bit further. Well, got some fuel, and we got about a 25-30 minute ride down to Philly. Picked a nice nippy day for you guys today too. Hopefully the audio is pretty good on this video. I've been working on that, but yeah, it's about 36-37 degrees at the moment in Freedom units, and I can tell you without a doubt, with the gear I have on right now, which I will talk about in a little bit, I'm fine. I mean, I'm more than fine. I'm completely comfortable right now. It's pretty cool, actually. Well, welcome to the city of brotherly love. Oh, and lots of cheap heroin and other various problems. So, look at this big bastard in front of me. This is not the guy, by the way. This ship. Look at that. I figured this was a good backdrop for this video. So, welcome to the Naval Shipyard in Philadelphia. I figured this was a good little backdrop for this video. There's really no big awesome reason. I just think it's a cool old ship and it's going to get scrapped soon, so why not make a video in front of it? Guys, Downstater here. Quick note for you. The other reason for recording at this site is because this jacket came from RevZilla and their headquarters is just a couple thousand feet away from where I was standing. They've always treated me well, and if you want to buy this jacket and support the channel, I left a link in the description below, and it would be certainly appreciated if you bought that way. All right, back to the video. So we're talking about cold weather gear, and it's cold, I can assure you. what I've always done for years is basically just passive cold weather gear, you know, just basically bundling up. Everything I had in my house I would basically throw on. Long johns, extra shirts, extra sweatshirts, and eventually you end up kind of looking like Ralphie from the Christmas Story, and it never really works that well, but it does the job, right? We all kind of figure out things to just get things done, but it's not the most sophisticated way to do it for sure. And it's got some serious downsides. For one, you often end up sweating because it's very hard to layer properly when you're going through kind of different temperatures and when you're riding in the cold. The second thing is, like I said, you're so bulked up, you kind of have trouble moving too. And you end up getting cold in hot spots, and it doesn't work that well. So, let's talk about the passive gear that I've always used that does work, and then we'll get to a new product that I'm really liking. So for years now, I've done the kind of standard protocol, if you will. The first thing I'll talk about is a balaclava. These things are just phenomenal in the cold. They make a ton of sense. You don't need to spend a bunch of money either. You can buy these for fairly cheap, and they just work really well. The one thing I will tell you to do though, make sure you get the kind that have a thinner material up top where your actual head is, so that it fits under your helmet properly and you're not slamming your helmet onto a bunch of bulk. You know, this fleece is pretty thick, and when you try to fit it into a properly sized helmet, it's not going to be fun for you, I can assure you. But again, you can buy these anywhere. I don't even know what brand this is. I'm not familiar with it, but I probably got it at Target or some, who knows, well, Walmart, doesn't matter. These just do a great job though, and definitely keep a lot of the cold air off your neck and out of your helmet, which is a big deal. Speaking of helmets, another big thing that's often overlooked and that really does do a great job is called a chin curtain. It's a little piece of fabric that usually velcros right into a helmet. This helmet, the Bell MX-9, did not have, you know, the ability to put one in, so I ended up having to actually put in velcro, and then this is a chin curtain out of an HJC. I don't know which one. If you ask, I won't be able to answer you. I just Googled basically for one that looked about what I would need for this size-wise and everything, and I made it work. That's the one actually downside about this Bell that I don't think was a great move on their part, and maybe it's come out now, but 2 years ago when I was looking to do a chin curtain, Bell did not have one for this helmet, so something to keep in mind. Definitely a good move though is to put a chin curtain in. The last kind of active or passive piece of gear that I use are just good gloves. And this is one place where I will say spending a couple bucks is a smart move. You know, I'm not the biggest like gear guy in the world. I'm not gonna, you know, I don't have $3,000 worth of gear on. I just don't see a need for it. But with gloves, it's the one place where I will say, buy once, cry once. You know, that's definitely something I agree with on this. These are not cheap. These are made by Climb. They're the inversion gloves. I use these, and then I use the Inversion Pro during the spring and fall, and then basically an MX glove during the summer. But they're all Climb, and they're all really, really good. I have to give them credit. They just do a great job with their gloves. Jackets, pants too. So I'll touch on that real quick too. I don't want to like redo what I talked about in the ADV video, but definitely good, you know, a good wind stopping jacket with some water repellency. Like this jacket is water resistant kind of ish, and it does block a good amount of wind as well. Pants, same thing, close up your vents and you should be good to go. I have long johns on, that's it. And boots, same deal, wear some good socks. So what we're really here to talk about though is active heating. So I've basically been not against it, but just ignorant to it for years. I knew it was available. Whether I was just too stupid or didn't want to spend the money, too cheap, I don't know. But I've always just not bought it. And I was recently given the opportunity to try some. And it is the Hotwired brand. I have to say, I'm a huge fan, and I feel like a dope for all these years of riding and not using it. It just makes a lot of sense. I wanted to try out and see how good it was. So like I said, I picked a cold day, and I'm not wearing much right now. I have a t-shirt on, the Hotwired liner, and then this jacket. And this jacket doesn't even have the liner. There's a zip-in thermal liner that this Icon Raiden has. I didn't even zip it in. So I'm literally wearing 3 layers right now, including the heated liner. And I was at the point on the highway, which when you adjust for wind chill, I was probably feeling high 20s on the highway, and I was totally warm. I couldn't complain one bit. It was totally fine, to the point where I actually turned it down to low. So you have a little adjustment right here. It's a tab that comes out of the bottom, and you hold long for turning it on, and then click down for 3 modes: high, medium, low. As far as the jacket goes, I'm probably going to leave it there. It just works. I would say buy one, whether you buy the Hotwired one or First Gear makes one. Gerber, I can't remember the name. I think it's a German brand. They make excellent gear too, but it's much more expensive, and honestly, this stuff works really well, so maybe save some money and just grab the Hotwired. But yeah, definitely buy it. The next thing I am going to touch on though is the electrical, side of this type of gear. It's not a high amperage draw, but it definitely does draw some electricity. I think it's rated for about 2 to 3 amps while it's running, and it's not the kind of thing you want to run off of your standard cigarette adapter on a bike. Most of these are rated for like 1 or 2 amps. They're mainly for charging cell phones, that's it. So definitely I would say, from my electrical background, do not run it on that. What I do on this bike, if you watch my ADV video, you'll know that I have a direct SAE plug right here that's wired in to the battery directly. It's a 10 gauge wire, and I put it there for a couple reasons. I can run an air pump off of it. I can actually jump start the bike off of it. I can charge a battery, and eventually I knew one day I was going to do heated gear. I just, I figured someday it's going to happen. So what you want to do, in my opinion, is either get the extension wire that works for you, or in my case, I only bought the small stubby one that was about this long, and it had an SAE plug on one end and then the barrel adapter on this end. It was not long enough for me, so what I ended up doing was just heat shrink and soldering an extension on. If you're not familiar with SAE plugs, they're basically just a standard 12 volt DC plug. It's almost like a trailer wire connector, but instead of 4 conductors, there's only 2. If that makes sense to you guys, I don't know if that helps or not, but really standard. You can buy these on Amazon. Battery Tender uses the same plug. A lot of companies use the same plug. It's just kind of a standard American style plug. And the jacket uses a barrel connector. I assume that's for a quick disconnect in case you off on the bike. It makes sense to me, at least. Maybe I'm wrong, but so you just have to adapt from SAE to a barrel, and then when you get on the bike, you just give it a quick connection like that, and you're good to go. One long press to turn it on, and then you cycle through with presses for each heat setting. Super easy. No issues. There's really not a whole lot to say. It just works well. Like I said, it worked so well on the highway, I actually had to put it on low. My heated grips were still on medium, I believe, or they were on like level 3 or 4, but this thing I had to turn down because it was just doing such a good job. So yeah, I feel like kind of a dope now, all these years of riding, and I never tried heated gear because I really like it, but hey, you live and learn, and hopefully this video is helping you live and learn a little bit too, on my expense. So those are the passive things I use. This is the active thing I'm using now, along with the heated grips, and honestly, I could ride in 10-degree temperatures and wouldn't even notice it. So all around, big fan. Definitely suggest you guys do this stuff. And if you have any ideas for other videos you want to see, I have some stuff coming out probably in the next couple, month or two. It's going to be more motorcycle stuff, some more DIY stuff, cabin stuff coming out, more off-grid stuff. So tune in, throw me a like, it costs you nothing. And if you really think you got something out of this, subscriptions are always, appreciated. Yeah, till the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, the man's got to work out.